So I want to express this frustration. Earlier I mentioned that I was running, earlier panel, some of you guys weren't here, that I'm running for Secretary of State. And the main thing I'm running on is to promote proportional representation elections in California. And with all due respect, we don't have a two-party system. We have a single-seat, winner-take-all district system that produces a binary dynamic. And yet almost all of our political analysis is entirely devoid of understanding how that forces everybody into two camps. And if we had a multi-seat democracy with proportional representation, people like you talked about who don't have a place today in politics would have a place in one of several parties. And it just makes my head want to explode that we take this as a gospel that we have to have these kind of dynamics, and yet it isn't necessary that we have to have these. And we internalize racism, we internalize sexism, and we undo that, but we don't talk about internalizing winner-take-allism. And that's a real problem that we have. And I wish that political punditry and the talking heads in the state would start talking about the issues and say the electoral system is a large part of the problem.
Well, maybe somebody up here can fix that.
Me? I have to fix it?
Yeah.
I don't want to speak to the issue of proportional representation, but I will certainly say it is absolutely true that, like everyone else in our society, we at newspapers take certain things for granted. We start from certain assumptions, and too often we don't see that there are other ways of looking at things, other points of views that that will allow us to question, even the most fundamental underpinnings of the way our system works, and we ought to do more of that. We try to do it on the op-ed page, for instance. That's a place where people can come from outside the paper and say, hey, you idiots, you proceed from the assumption that the two-party system is the only way to go. Well, here's another way of thinking about it. And I think whenever we do that stuff, it's often mind-expanding and interesting, and we should do more of it.
So I think, there are opportunities for structural change. I think any place, if there's any place in the union where this could actually happen right now, I think it is California, given the fact that we have, relative to the other 49 states, a comparatively easier way to change our constitution, right? We have this ballot and initiative system, right, that doesn't require us to go to the powers that be to change the actual constitution, right? We can get something on the ballot. Now, again, this is a huge state. That's a hugely expensive, phenomenon. And so I think, if any place for you to run for Secretary of State to actually try and get this into place, I think you can actually do it in California relative to the other places.